Welcome to our Benin Network Studio, where we are going to step into the 2025 importance of cultivating both confidence and a wealth mindset. And of course, this cannot be overemphasized. These attributes are very, very, very essential in developing one's ability. So now from here, we are going to be looking at what we should be getting as far as 2025 is concerned. We have with us in the studio our guest. He's a person of Dr. Caesar Osaheni Iyani. He's the author of the ABC of How to Industrialize Nigeria. He's the CEO, Caesar Iyani Nigeria. He's a seasoned business expert with a wealth of experience in empowering the individuals and organizations. He's going to be helping us to unlock and unpack this conversation. Dr. Caesar, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, now you're going to help us now. Let's begin with this. What does 2025 holds for Nigerians, especially in the midst of this global economic meltdown, not only down to inflation and high cost of living?
Every year we end up coming up with a new program, a new resolution. The problems remain the same. I must tell you, first of all, that I am not a social critic. Because social critics, they make a lot of noise and they have no solutions. I am a solution provider. I look at Nigeria and I see opportunities. People see Nigeria as a place that is helpless. I see a lot of potentials in Nigeria. And it is up to us. So whether it's 2025, 2026, 2027, or 2023, it doesn't matter as long as we get our fundamentals right. The problem that we have, I have continued to emphasize this, and it's not sufficient. People think it is corruption. Yes, it's corruption. But the main problem is that we did not produce anything.
So we're not a producing nation?
We are a commodity nation. From oil to agricultural products, whether you want to export oil, it's a commodity. You want to export gold, it's a commodity. You want to export rubber, it's a commodity. You want to export cocoa, it is a commodity. What about the finished product? There's an exponential gap between raw material and the finished product. Let me tell you this.
Tell us.
Japan is an island nation, zero natural resource. Yet, after United States, China, the next economy is Japan. So how do they do it? They take raw materials from everywhere in the world, and then they finish manufacturing products that are needed everywhere else. So they are an export-based economy. We have the ability to do that. I said that in my book. Of course, it has been said, if you want to hide anything from a black man,
put it in the book.
Put it in the book. He will not read.
So why are we not harnessing some of these potentials and some of these potentials that were highlighted in your book, the ABC of How to Industrialize Nigeria? You have so many points there that people can deduce for themselves. But why is it that we are yet to get to that point, that finish point?
The fish starts to get rotting from the top. And if you are going to harness the potential of Nigeria, that general drive should come from the top. When Mao Zedong took over China, he was very particular about how to industrialize China. He knew that if he were to just base China on exporting raw materials, they wouldn't go anywhere. Look at Russia. Russia have the technological base to produce everything. I saw a picture of the electric car. It looked like what was probably put together in one small corner in Ajegule. For an economy like that, with all the potential. What are they doing? They are exporting commodities. They export gas, they export oil, and they gallivant. They make the biggest nuclear weapon. All that will not do it. The drive must come from the top. Right now, I must tell you, our economy is being controlled by Indians, Lebanese, and Chinese.
Can we ever get to a point where we'll be independent of foreign aid?
Things cannot happen unless you plan for it. That is why you see everywhere churches preaching miracle everywhere. Everybody tries to play Bet Niger because everybody is frustrated and they are looking for easy answers. There are no easy answers. People want things to happen immediately. They don't want to plan. If you want to harvest yam in October, you have to plant yam in April. People don't understand that, but they want the yam. You have to put measures in place, and those measures must come from government because the initial investment is monumental. Very few individuals will have such capacity. Those that have it, because they probably got the money through their connection with government, they have no idea what it means to run an industry. They take their money, keep it in Europe, their children drive the best cars, they fly every day. From today, here they are in America, tomorrow they are in Britain, next tomorrow they are just flying back and forth. They have no idea what to do with the money. Those that have the idea don't have access to the capital.
Okay.
And it is the duty of government. I must tell you this. The Chinese companies that you see dominating Nigeria industries, the Indians, are supported by their government.
To run businesses on the shores of our land.
Yes. Their agenda is to ensure that they produce semi-finished products here by using the industrial raw material. For example, here Dangote is producing cement. Here they are producing ties. There are other compounds and elements that you need to add in order to be able to produce cement. In order to be able to produce soap, there are some compound and elements that you need to import.
So from those raw materials?
Yes, cement, for example, the primary raw material is calcium, what you call marble, which we have in abundance. But then after, you need the aluminum oxide, which we can produce. And the interesting thing about manufacturing, chemistry and physics, is that by the time you are able to manufacture one product, one element, you are able to produce one element. And from there you try to produce a compound also. You end up producing other residual group of products that can have application in other products. So they complement each other. So why is cement still expensive in Nigeria, for example? Well, if you look at the transportation system, produce cement in Kogi State, you have to transport it to Benin City. You don't have train. I'm not saying that we should go and wake up tomorrow and say we must have electric train because we don't have the electricity capacity. Why don't we use our brain to think? If we cannot produce cement, if we cannot move a train with electricity the way they do in Europe and America, why can't we start from where they started from? It's not a disgrace, for example, if we have to use a steam engine. It worked before. What you want is to move goods from point A to point B. If you say, okay, that is too primitive, you can use diesel. Diesel is expensive now. But the point is that if you are committed to a program, our problem is that we talk too much and and do very little.
You're talking about doing too much, talking too much and doing little. It seems the wealth of this nation is in the hands of individuals. And year in, year out, the spiritual leaders will assure the congregations that this year is going to be your year. This year will be your best year. And before you know, getting towards the end of the year, some of these persons from religious worship centers, they return back counting their losses instead of counting their gains. Now, how can we ensure that the wealth of this nation is spread evenly into the hands of everyone?
You know, people see things done and then they believe it. Nobody wants to hear, this is the program you have. They want to see things happen immediately. My children, I try to convince them, why don't you do this? Before I finish my sentence, they have already told me what they think they are going to do. And they don't have the experience, but they believe they already know. So they now have to learn by making mistakes, which ought not to be. The advantages, or the primary advantage, I think, foreign countries have over us, is that they have had more than 50 generations of industrial manufacturing. I'm second generation, and children will be third generation if they listen. So, to ensure that we are able to learn and see how we are able to do it, it's not a matter of some pastor or some people that claim to be man of God. They just enriching themselves. Because the typical Nigerian want to get something for nothing. That is why they play Bet Niger and all those things. If you understand statistics, and you will know that gambling is impossible. The odds are stacked against you. It's always in favor of the house. But what do people do? They start to think, if I can just put in 500 naira a day, that won't kill me. One day I will hit the jackpot. I will become a millionaire. It happens. But what are the odds? The odds are so slim that many people end up being frustrated. And so the pastors, they know the weaknesses of human beings, and they prey on it by promising them that they can do great things. Whereas they ought to let people know that we should begin by manufacturing the things that we consume. How do we arrive at that stage?
Okay.
That is where government is supposed to come in. Government is supposed to ensure, you don't have to do the great things. I'm not asking you to go and spend billions of dollars that's probably not available and invest it, and then we won't see what will happen about it. But what I'm saying is that you can take the basic elements, for example. Like I just mentioned to you now, if you want to produce cement, you need aluminum oxide. And to produce aluminum oxide, there are some processes you have to go through. We import sodium hydroxide, and you need to react aluminum oxide with aluminum to produce aluminum oxide. And we don't have that here. If you want to produce soap, for example, you need sodium hydroxide, caustic soda. And we don't have it here. But the production is a bit simple. All you need is to have a direction that, wait a minute, instead of spending so much money to import sodium hydroxide, spend so much money to import aluminum oxide because you want to produce cement, why can't we start with this basic industry and tell the Chinese, tell the Indians, you want to produce a glass in Nigeria, you want to produce tiles in Nigeria. The active industrial raw material, you must produce it here. We don't want you to import it, because that is one of the easiest way that they can use to repatriate dollar. You don't need our naira. So when they produce all these things, there's so much naira in their hands. What did they do with it? They go to the black market to buy dollar because they want to import what we can easily produce or manufacture here. Now, try to reason it out. If you are spending, you think it's a joke, but when you start to add what one company is consuming to the other, one bag of sodium hydroxide, because I consume it a lot in my factory, is about 75,000 naira, and it's 25 kg.
Just for a bag?
Yeah, 25 kg. And what is in there really? What is in there? 4 elements put together. Water has oxygen and hydrogen, 2 elements, and then salt, sodium and chlorine. Those are the 4 things you put together, and then you run a DC current through it to remove the chlorine. You capture it. That chlorine is still useful for domestic and industrial application. And what you have left is sodium hydroxide, which is caustic soda. And we are importing it. You have to ask yourself, why? So government should, let me put it this way. In 1999, my friend who was the military administrator of Edo State, he wanted me to be governor. And I declined because I didn't think it was going to be possible. With the benefit of hindsight, I'm happy that I declined. Because if I had become governor, I wouldn't even know what to do. I would have ended up just doing what everybody is doing.
As at then?
Yeah, as at then. You make some road here, you build a school there, you do that. You shout that you are governor, you are working, and everybody say you are trying. And then in the end, you wouldn't get anything accomplished.
Okay.
If you are a governor, if you are a president, start to think about how we can manufacture things. Because the difference in terms of additional value in monetary terms is so humongous that if we continue to rely on exportation of commodities, we are going to continue to complain about our well-being, about our growth, because it will never happen like that.
Okay, let's bring it down now to the ordinary Nigerians, because they are the recipients of some of this harsh economy that we are facing today. How does financial literacy contribute to developing a wealthy mindset? Because it seems some of us are not really independent when it comes to financial literacy. Help us out.
Well, look, everybody is looking for money. And they are looking for money in a hurry. The way the economy is structured in such a way that there are so many oppositions against an investor. The moment you invest, people come and start trying to discourage you, put taxes on you, and it's quite frustrating. But nevertheless, Nigeria is still the greatest country. I tell you that because you can wake up today and say, I want to start to build a hotel. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I want to start to trade on iron. I want to open a pepper soup joint. Nobody will stop you from doing it. If you find your way in America, you have to work for somebody. Who will give you the license to open a hotel? Who will give you the license to start a business? The odds are stacked against you. Of course, they will tell you there's no discrimination, but who will patronize your product? So here is a place for everybody. And we are here, we are proud that we are Nigerians. If you are an entrepreneur, you must have that determination and be prepared to fail. People don't want to fail, they want to succeed all the time. It's not possible. You are going to encounter a lot of problems. People are going to discourage you, are going to frustrate you. In Nigeria, it's a liar. If you see a Nigerian, suspect him.
That is succeeding?
No. Any Nigerian, if you see any Nigerian, suspect him.
Oh, every Nigerian is a prime suspect?
It's a suspect. A Nigerian will never tell you the truth. You called me, or where are you? I told you, I said I'm at your gate.
That was what you said.
And I was at your gate, right?
Yes.
Many people will tell you they are coming and they will not come.
Definitely.
That is what you get all the time. So it's not a problem of...
Could that be the reason why we are not progressing?
There's many reasons. That is one of them.
Okay.
One of the reasons is, look, you work with people and you make plans with people. When it's time to implement it, they disappoint you.
Okay, Dr. Caesar, let's manage our time now because we are really running out of time. We have a few minutes to go to the news. Let's look at the issue of mentorship. To an extent, young minds don't want to be mentored. How do mentorship and networking play in fostering confidence and building a solid mindset in the hearts of the young ones? Let's manage
when you want to be a Yahoo,
when
you want to be a Yahoo, who is going to mentor you? You have to go and look for a Yahoo man to mentor you. The Igbos, after the Civil War, I was picked up from the boarding house in 1967 when the war started. My father drove in, picked me up and took me to the village. So I have an awareness of what happened to the Igbos. Before the Civil War, everybody called me Igbo. They see my mother, I would say, Mama Igbo. Why am I saying this? The Igbos, during the war, they lost everything, and they were given 20 pounds each. Today, they are the richest tribe in Nigeria.
Okay, Doctor.
Due to mentorship.
Now, you made mention of generational wealth. Very important. How can people move beyond personal success to build generational wealth while maintaining confidence towards thinking positively?
It is a big problem because, see, children from wealthy family in Africa, the moment they see that there's success, they start to take things for granted. And so you see that there's always a shift. People that are rich today, 50 years ago, were very poor. They were those that worked for the entrepreneurs in those days, their parents. So today they are rich. And what will happen to them too? 50 years from now, their children will become lazy, and those that work for them will become also rich. My struggle is to break that cycle. I think I have done that. I was able to stand on my own feet and continue to fly the flag of Iyayi Ifeanyi, who is in heaven. I represent him with all my strength. I'm working tirelessly to ensure that my children will be able to continue the legacy. It's a serious problem in Africa, and I just hope that when you have families, the parent, the father is talking, the mother should be saying the same thing. And it is very difficult for Africans. I don't know whether it's our DNA or I don't know what to call it. You talk to people, they will agree with you, but they end up doing the opposite. It is a big challenge. Whereas I know people that work with us more than 40, 50 years ago that are in Europe. Their parents are late now and the businesses are thriving. But here in Africa, it is not so. You have gossiping. Once a man gets married, his wife will come in, his children will come in, they'll start fighting their brothers. They will hear rumor from here, hear rumor the other, where everybody will start fighting each other and all that. And people are not serious. But I believe that with the passage of time, we will begin to see that there's a need to have continuity. There are some examples already where you are having continuity, and it requires people to work together. The problem is that black people, they behave like, if you are familiar with the animal world, they behave like leopard and tigers. They don't behave like lions. Lions, they work together as a team. The dog pack work together as a team. And they are more successful. You can see a pack of
teamwork.
A lion pride will bring down an elephant. But one tiger, of course the tiger is stronger than the lion, cannot bring down an elephant. Because of teamwork, they are able to do that. Here in Africa, everybody wants to stand on his own because he doesn't trust the other man. There's always the issue of betrayal.
Okay, now let's quickly look at a more pressing issue. We live in a time where young people want to make it quick. You know, they want to do fraud. They feel doing fraud and engaging in other negative vices will help them to get money quick. You are someone that have strived in business. You took over a conglomerate and you're pushing it very fine. What advice do you have for this young lad?
If you look at the history of 419, now called Yahoo and all that, look at all the people that practiced it. They didn't succeed over time. In the short run, yes, they will succeed. But in the long run, they will always fail. It's like kidnappers, it's like armed robbers. They can never have a situation where they will grow forever. So even if you are Yahoo, by the time you are able to steal 1 or 200 million, go and start a legitimate business and stop that. If you want to continue to do that, you will not be able to succeed over the long haul. The day will come when nemesis will catch up with you.
Okay, quickly, finally, before we let you go, what are the challenges that we might encounter in 2025?
Well, I see the fluctuation of the Naira as a constant problem. I don't know how we are going to deal with that, but I know that if we have a long-term plan, we'll be able to. There's something wrong with the Naira being 1,200 to 1 if we stabilize it at that. And then we'll know how to work around it. You cannot have a strong currency if you are not manufacturing things. So it's a mirage to think that one day you just wake up and Naira will be 1 Naira to $1. It's not even in our interest to do that. Because if we start doing what I'll be talking about, which is industrial manufacturing, we will need for our money to be a little weak in order for us to be able to export.
Okay.
That's why Japan, what do you think is the value of one Japanese dollar to a yen?
Well, I don't have that.
You don't have any idea. It's not less than 70.
Whoa.
All the time they are pushing them, they should bring it to 50. They will never agree. The Chinese are always pushing their currency low.
So if they are pushing their currency low,
yeah,
will it have any value?
No. You see, when you are manufacturing what you consume, it doesn't matter to you whether your currency is low
or not.
All you want is, you want to be able to export. Because imagine, let's assume we are able to manufacture things now, and we are exporting. And today is 1,200 or 1,600 to $1. And you export goods worth about 10,000. Suddenly you don't have 17 million Naira.
Oh.
But if the value is 10 to 1, how much do you have? 1,700. So you see that you are not being encouraged.
It reduces.
Yeah, so there's an advantage to that. But the catch is that you must manufacture things. You cannot be an import-dependent country and your currency will be devalued. You put pressure on the common man.
Now, talking about pressure on the common man, the policies of this administration, over time we've heard that things will get better and Nigerians have been advised or encouraged to bear with this government. Looking at some of the policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do you think these policies are favorable?
Look at it. I was watching his speech and he mentioned that debt service dropped from 98% to 68%. That is a positive result. Don't forget that during the Buhari administration, I voted for Buhari. And I voted for Buhari because when he was in government, I was a student in the US, and we heard that Buhari brought so much discipline to the system. And so we were all clamoring for him. And people that knew him said, no, don't vote for Buhari. That man is a lazy man. It was the devil that did the job. It was later on we discovered that it was true. But are you surprised now that banditry has reduced?
It has, to an extent.
Huh?
To an extent.
Okay. So, Abacha, for all the things that he did, what he's noted for is that he said, insurgency, if it lasts more than 24 hours, government is involved. So, Buhari, during his 8 years of administration, we witnessed the most chaotic period in the history of Nigeria in terms of safety and public welfare. But now, Tinubu has been here now for about 18 months, and I must tell you, whether we want to believe it or not, the pressure on criminality in the north, we have a presence in the north, so I can tell you that for sure, has reduced. It is safer now in the north. Everything moved from, if you know the system, what has been going on, it was initially northeast. When Buhari became president, now it became northwest. And he's from Daura in the northwest. So you will imagine, why should it be that Buhari, who is from the northwest, there's so much banditry going on in his place? Okay. And I know you are pushed for time,
yes.
So let me end up on this note. So why should it be so? It seems that because it's a Fulani, who just population is just about 9 million people in Nigeria, and they believe they own Nigeria, he gave them a free hand. They became untouchable. And now that he's not there, some sanity is beginning to return. To return back.
Okay, Dr. Caesar Iyai, it's always a pleasure to have you on this platform. And of course, we would like to have you again so that we can take it from other angles. We appreciate you for coming.
Thank you very much.